Hello, friends. Welcome to the LeggLife podcast. My name is Adam.
My name is Sherri.
Sherri Beth, what episode is this?
45.
And we need to address the elephant in the room right off the bat.
We forgot about last week.
You guys, since we started our podcast back in January, we have not missed a single Saturday upload.
Nope.
Including through all of Sherri's sickness, all of the craziness of the year.
Work trips.
Everything.
Yeah.
Until last week.
Yep.
What happened?
We forgot.
And
100% forgot.
woke up Saturday, like late morning, early afternoon.
Correct.
Laying in bed, and I just start to laugh in bed.
Yeah. I think I was like brushing my teeth and he just starts to laugh and I was like, yes.
Are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, we forgot a podcast for today. Did think for a second about like, oh my gosh, crap, quick, get downstairs, upload one, let's get it done. But
yeah, we thought about it.
And then we're like, you know what?
We already missed it.
We're going to have grace with ourselves.
It's fine.
It's gone.
Life happens.
The moment has passed. And so I apologize for missing the episode last week.
Yeah.
But we are not going to miss the episode this week.
No. I do want to point out that it is 10:30 p.m.
Sherri, why do you got to give away all of our
Friday
secrets?
night.
Because about 30 minutes ago, I was on Instagram Live.
And you were like, oh, we still have a podcast to do.
So, you guys, I'm going to be honest. The podcast,
it's a little rough.
It's a little bit rough right now. We almost missed 2 weeks in a row.
Oh,
but gosh darn it, we didn't.
No, we're going to make this one.
And here's the thing. We actually have a great podcast planned for this one. And so I would have been really bummed if we missed this.
Yeah.
Because today, if you're listening on Saturday, November 6th, is basically Sherri Day. It's It's Book Lovers Day.
Yeah.
You are a book lover.
I am.
Yeah, but shockingly,
What?
You are a book lover. And so when we sat down earlier this week to talk about how we were going to approach Book Lovers Day, there are a lot of different, approaches you could take.
Yeah.
You know, tell us about the books you read this year. Tell us about what you're currently reading. But I actually wanted to save the, yearly book review, or, what books you read, for a YouTube vlog later this year.
Yeah.
So, I have some questions.
Okay.
That are literary and bookish and all things nerdy.
You seem to struggle over the word literary.
Literary. All things literary. Yeah, there's a reason you will be doing most of the talking in this podcast. So, Sherri, I thought that what I would do is honestly just basically ask you these questions.
Okay.
And I will maybe have a little bit of input on some of them. We'll have a little bit of dialogue about them. But honestly, most of this is going to be you. And these are just super just random book questions, okay?
Mm-hmm.
I think some of these things we might have touched on in previous videos or podcasts or things, but It's always fun to revisit.
Yeah.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
For the literary book review. Okay. Question number 1.
Uh-huh.
What book series did you enjoy so much that you would happily forget all about it just to read it again for the first time?
Ooh. Oh gosh. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Wow. So there's a lot of series that I've read many times because I love them so much. The first one that comes to mind is Harry Potter.
Uh-huh.
I don't know. There's something about reading them for the first time when you don't know the story, and being surprised and learning new things. And there's so much fun about reading it the first time. I would love to reread that.
You're actually
the first time.
You're currently reading Harry Potter.
I'm currently rereading Harry Potter.
If you had to ballpark what reading number this is through that series, any idea?
6 or 7.
Okay. First of all, reading through 6 or 7 times, do you still love the series reading it now?
Yes.
But is it different?
It is different, and I'm finding this time, for whatever reason, my brain's it's just not really there. I'm still enjoying it, and once I kind of make myself sit down and read it, I don't want to stop reading.
Yeah.
But for whatever reason, I just can't. I'm not oh, I really need to make time tonight to read, because it's just not. I don't know. It's not grabbing me.
Still love it, but it's just not. It's not the same.
Yep. It's just not the same. And honestly, I think part of it is I've read it so many times.
Yeah.
And I'm about halfway through the second book.
which is the Chamber of Swords.
Chamber of Secrets.
Secrets.
And I do still love it, but it's just, that's a series that I would love to read for the first time again.
Cool. Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Next question. You ready? Mm-hmm. So what is a book that you tried to read, but it like utterly broke you to the point where you had to like put the book down and like contemplate whether you were even going to pick it back up again? Like you were just broken by this book.
I have an immediate answer for this.
Okay, what is it?
The Fault in Our Stars.
Oh, we're going to talk about this book for a minute.
Oh, goodness gracious.
So tell me Fault in Our Stars. Tell us the story about this.
Okay, so it's by John Green. I have read most of his stuff. He's a phenomenal writer. But I do feel like all of his books have an element of reality to them that a lot of like fiction books don't have. Which honestly is why I read fiction.
Okay.
I read fiction to escape reality because there's enough crap in the world.
Yeah.
And enough sad and enough death and enough, real things. And I mean, I don't know. I keep going back to his books because he's so good. But every book is just like I need time to heal after reading one of his books. And The Fault in Our Stars is probably the worst one. So I was reading this book and I take a lunch break at work and I read a chapter or two while I'm eating my lunch. And it's something I've done for years. It's like my little break in the middle of the day. And with this book, I had to stop reading it at work because I was crying so hard.
Yeah.
And I found myself literally like the ugly sobs, like the kind of like choking, crying so hard while reading this book that I had to stop reading it at work because it was destroying my day. And I was like, my coworkers are gonna think my mother died. Like, right. I don't know. Like, it's going to be something traumatic. And I'm just reading a book. But yeah, so definitely that book just broke me. And I will say I have not read it again.
Do you have any desire to read it again?
Oh, I do because of how good it was.
Interesting. Okay.
Ooh, it's rough. It's rough.
So I did not read the book. No shock. But I did watch the movie.
Okay, and so we went and saw the movie in the theater.
Yep.
And I went into it knowing, I was like, oh, this is going to be rough. And so I brought Kleenexes to the theater. Yep. And you were like, that's ridiculous. Like, it's going to be fine.
Yeah.
And I was like, no, it's not going to be fine. Like, this movie is going to wreck you.
Yep.
And I was like, even if it's terrible, the movie is going to wreck you.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because they got great actors and they got like, oh man, they killed it. But it wrecked you.
100%. And I actually watched it again. I remember I went to a creative conference in Chicago and one of the like directors or producer was from Fault in Our Stars was there and spoke. And so I was like, oh, I want to watch the movie again. And so I watched it on my flight back from Chicago to Anchorage.
Foolish.
And it is a horrible plane movie because you look like a crazy person, literally just like guttural sobs on the plane.
Right.
Okay, but I have a different take on this movie.
Okay.
I love Fault in Our Stars.
No, I do too.
But what I love is I love the ending. Because to me, you read these kind of books to escape reality.
Yeah.
Whereas what I liked about it is that sometimes I don't like that things always turn out perfect because that to me is not real life.
Right.
Like you read those things
spoilers
to escape
ahead.
Real life.
We're just going to go ahead.
Oh yeah. Well,
there's spoilers here.
It's been out like 15 years.
Right.
You deserve to have it spoiled.
Right.
Sometimes like people don't get healed and sometimes people die and sometimes that's how the story ends.
Right.
And so to me, the fact that like that's the way the movie ended, it felt very real to me and I loved that. In fact, that was the power of the movie to me, was that it wasn't like, oh, she got healed and everybody got healed and everybody's better and people live together and like, you know what I mean? Like it's perfect. Like I loved that that wasn't the ending.
And honestly, that's all of his books. And so it's just, and again, like he's such a great writer that I keep reading his books, but every single time I read his books, I'm just like, why do I keep doing this to myself?
It's like this painful dose of reality.
Yes.
That's so funny. All right.
Oh, goodness.
Next question.
Yep.
Which book or book series changed your life?
Changed my life.
I mean, obviously the Bible.
Sure. Well, sure.
Church answer.
I'm gonna go with Harry Potter again.
Okay.
And here's why.
Let's hear it.
It was probably the first series that I read that was as a whole series, not by a Christian author.
Mm-hmm. Which is what you grew up reading.
Which is what I grew up reading, and I still read those, but this was kind of the first, like, I don't know, non-Christian, secular, whatever you, mainstream, what word you want to use. Is probably the first series that I'd read like that, and it kind of opened up a new world of books to me.
Yeah.
I think. And kind of opened up the world of magic and fantasy, which I adore. And I didn't know that I adored them because I'd never read them before.
Yeah, totally.
I'd read, like the Chronicles of Narnia and that kind of stuff. And there's some magic-y type things in there, but not to the extent that Harry Potter is. Mm-hmm. And I think, I think that's...
Harry Potter?
Harry Potter.
Okay, so now I'm going to change the tone of the questions because we have had like 2 Harry Potter answers and 1 like guttural sob fault in our stars. At this point, people are like, wow, what an uplifting podcast.
Okay.
Sherri?
Yeah.
What is the worst Jane Austen book?
Oh, no.
Here's the thing.
Oh, people are going to come for me.
You love Jane Austen.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying it is a terrible book. I'm saying that if you had to list them, this is the one at the bottom of the list.
Full disclosure, I haven't read all of her books. There's a few that I haven't, but...
Wow, fake fan.
I know. Ooh, people are going to come for me. Mansfield Park. I think, Mansfield Park. So, it's not because I hated the story. For me, it's so long. And I just, I love Jane Austen, but I want her just to get to the point. And I feel like with Pride and Prejudice and with Persuasion and those kind of books that I've read 100 times, she does. Like, they're pretty short and they're pretty quick reads. But the entire story is still in there, and I just feel like Mansfield Park is so long, and I'm like, okay, can we wrap this up?
Okay.
That's where I'm at.
What is one book that everybody has read that you've not? This is like that, oh yeah, everybody's read this book.
Everybody's read this book.
But you're like, what?
Wuthering Heights.
Oh.
I have tried so many times.
Okay, so it's not that you've never gotten to it. Like, you've tried to read this book.
I hate it.
Oh, what? Okay, what do you hate about it?
Everything. I can't. I get like 2 or 3 chapters in, and I just
said everything.
The characters are terrible. Like, they're horrible humans. Like, I can't get into the book. And I understand that for like so many people, it's the best book ever written. And I'm sorry, but I cannot get into it.
Full disclosure, I literally have no idea what that book is about.
It's supposed to be this big sweeping love story, but I can't get past how horrible the people are. So I don't know. I mean, maybe it is.
I think we just lost our Wuthering Heights.
I know. I'm sorry.
Brand deal. I doubt they're ever going to sponsor the podcast. Okay.
Well, dang.
So a similar question, kind of.
Okay.
What is one book that everybody has read that you also have read, but that you hated?
People are going to come for me too.
Well, here's the thing. We've talked about this book a number of times.
We have talked about this one. This is Crazy Rich Asians.
You hate this book so much.
I hated this book. I didn't like the people in it. I couldn't get into the lifestyle. Like, I understand it's supposed to be like this fascinating thing and whatever, but like, it just felt so far removed from reality. And I understand like people actually live like that, and that's, good for them. But it's so far from reality for me that I just couldn't, I couldn't get into it.
Okay. Yeah, I think we've well established your disdain.
I just can't do it. Like, there's more books in the series, and I literally have zero desire. And usually with series, I'm like, I'll at least finish the series. Like, I want to know how the story wraps up. But this one, I'm just like, I don't care.
Have we ever watched the movie?
No.
I feel like we should watch the movie and give the movie a try and see if the movie makes you want to go back to the book.
Maybe.
It won't, but we can try. All right, next question. Now, this is where we're getting into the good book nerd stuff, okay?
Okay.
How many books are too many for a series? So you love reading book series.
Yeah.
Is there a number?
I prefer series.
You prefer series over standalone books?
Yes.
Is there a number where it's like, okay, this is now crossed the line?
Well, I don't think so.
Okay.
And so there's a series by Gilbert Morris.
Oh, this frickin' series.
It's called The House of Winslow, and it, I think that I know for sure I have not read all of the books in the series. I think I read up through book 42.
And we owned
them all.
Up through book 42.
Correct.
We live in an 1,100 square foot townhouse. 382 square feet were like
This one series. You're not wrong. I honestly, I just recently got rid of them because I have not read them in probably a decade. Mm-hmm. Which is also why I'm so far behind in the actual book count. I don't even know how many.
They're still releasing books. Right.
I think. So I read through book 42. But what's fascinating to me about that series is that it starts with one man who came over on the Mayflower, mm-hmm. and then it's like his descendants. And so
each book's like a different family member.
Each book is a different family member and a different like generation, and it kind of goes and goes. And it was fascinating.
Yeah, super interesting.
Right, like through history and like through things happening. So
obviously not every book series can be 40, 50, 60 books.
Correct.
Is there a like range that you think is like good for a book series to fall in?
I want a minimum of 3.
Okay. You're not a big... Hold on, wait, I'm going to impress you. You're not a big duology fan?
I have read a few that I do like.
Wait, was that the right word?
Wait, what? Yes.
Yes!
I'm very proud of you.
You should be.
I have read a few duologies that I enjoy. But for the most part, I just feel like it's too short. Like, if you're going to call yourself a series, be 3 books.
Which is a trilology.
It's a trilogy.
And 4 books
Trilogy.
is a fourology.
Wow.
I know. I just wanted to impress the people.
Well, you're not. So I would say a minimum of 3 in order to call yourself a series, and 10 I think is probably a good maximum. Like to be like a good wrapped up series.
Okay.
10.
So
8 to 10.
Next question. Mm-hmm. You're reading a book, getting kind of tired, middle of the night. It's like, oh, I'm going to put my book down. Mm-hmm. Bookmark or dog-eared the page?
Oh, bookmark.
Okay, hold on. Tell me that.
Whoa!
So this is a question you didn't know was on the list.
No.
How does it make you feel when people dog-ear book pages? Wish you guys could see Sherri's face right now.
Please don't do that. Get a damn bookmark.
Hold on.
Get a piece of paper. Adam uses like small pieces of toilet paper. Like it doesn't matter. Use a bookmark.
Can we please make LeggLife Podcast get a damn bookmark merch? If you're out there and you want to get a damn bookmark merch, let me know.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. Like as I've gotten older and my memory goes away, I have found myself actually needing bookmarks, but growing up, I never used a bookmark.
That's so crazy to me.
I would just look at the page number, like when I was done, I would just be like, oh, I'm on page 86, and I would close the book, and then I'd go back to page 86. I can still sort of do that. I can usually remember what page I'm on, but there's sometimes that I can't, and then I'm like, oh no, and so I'm like searching through the book, looking for something familiar. And so I have found myself using bookmarks.
That's crazy that you could do that, though.
And honestly, that's one of the things that I love about e-readers is that I can just turn it off, and then I open back up, and it saved my page.
I can see that. All right, Sherri.
Yeah.
Give me an unpopular book opinion that you have.
Unpopular book opinion.
I mean, you've already given like 3 this podcast.
I know. People are gonna come for me now too. The Lord of the Rings are boring. Boring.
You hate these
Don't
books.
read them, just watch the movies. And here's the thing, I hate people usually who are just like, oh, I haven't read the book, but I've seen the movie. Then you haven't, like you don't know the story. But in The Lord of the Rings, I will make an exception, and please just don't read the books.
Okay, hold on.
Please just watch the movie.
Okay, wait 1 second. I'm trying to calm down people with their pitchforks right now.
No, it's fine.
You have read The Hobbit.
Yes, I actually enjoyed The Hobbit.
I loved The Hobbit.
Yep.
However, your gripe primarily against The Lord of the Rings is what? Like, explain a little bit.
He's so wordy. He takes 47 pages to explain something he can do in 3, like, sentences. Like, just wrap it up. He writes words for the sake of words, and, like, they don't need to be there. And it's just, I don't care. I don't need to know all of that.
I can see your blood pressure rising. And I know the blood pressure of so many of our Lord of the Ring fans who are listening.
So I did read The Hobbit, and then I read The Fellowship of the Ring. And it, like, usually I can read a book or two a week. This book took me 6 weeks to read. 6 weeks. Because it was, long and boring. And so I have not read the other two because I wanted to die.
Okay, so this actually leads into the next question.
Okay.
How far into a book will you know if you're going to like the book or not?
Usually a chapter or two. And usually by then I can tell the writing style, the characters, like if I'm going to enjoy reading about these people. Usually.
Let's say you get 2 chapters into a book and you're like, oh no, I don't like this. Will you, like me, instantly stop the book, put it down, never pick it up again, forget you ever bought it, and eventually return it to Tidal Wave for store credit?
And then buy it again because
buy it again because it's like, oh, this could be a good book.
Right.
Okay, first of all, rude. Don't attack me. Or will you always press through just to like at least finish the book?
It depends on. There's a few factors.
Okay.
If I'm invested in the story, if I like the story and I want to know where it goes, sometimes I will keep reading. Unless the grammar or the characters are just so atrocious that I'm like, nope, can't do it.
So those are things that would cause you to just stop.
Yes.
Okay.
But yeah, like, I mean, if the grammar is kind of rough, but like the characters are likable and the storyline is good, then I'll maybe keep pushing through, but not always.
Do you remember a book that you just stopped because it was just trash? I mean, I don't want to like badmouth a book on here. I'm just wondering if you have one.
I don't know the names because honestly, I don't invest in them enough to actually care.
That's savage because like I don't even care to remember who you were.
Well,
wow, good job, Sherri.
Sorry.
No, don't be sorry. I like it. Do you remember? Because as long as I've known you, you've always been a book lover.
Yep.
Growing up, you were as well. You kind of referenced that earlier.
Uh-huh.
Do you remember a book or a couple of books that sort of made you fall in love with reading, or books that for your like book reading-ness were just like influential?
Okay, so when we first kind of started talking about these questions, I did not have an answer for this because I feel like I have always been reading.
So it's hard for you to remember.
It's hard for me to remember like a specific book or series or something that kind of made me like, oh, I really like this.
Yeah.
But I remembered one.
Oh, what is it?
And I don't remember the name of the series. It was by Jeanette Oke.
I think it's Janet Oakey.
And it was each book, they're like children's-ish books, but they're like chapter books. Each book was a different like animal. And so there was one like about a calico cat, and there was one about a duck, and there was one about
was the duck's name Quackers? Because I feel like every duck in book should be named Quackers.
I actually feel like there was a quackery in like one of them.
Yes, there was.
I think so. But I remember those books, and I read those over and over and over, and I remember loving those books.
Yeah?
And yeah, so yeah, like it was a whole series of just different animals.
Okay.
Yeah.
I want to end, so the next question is the last question. And I want to end on kind of a high note, because one of the things that I love, and I've shared this a lot in vlogs and podcasts, when you are reading, I can look over at you and you are lost in a series. Like you are in whatever world you're reading. Mm-hmm. So this last question is, I want you to tell me a moment from a book that is so like strikingly beautiful that when you read it, you are just captivated by it. Like tell me like your most beautiful book moment.
The one that comes to mind immediately for me is the creation scene in The Magician's Nephew.
Yeah.
It brings tears to my eyes literally every time I read it. And I will go back and read just that chapter or however many chapters. Just because I just need like that beauty in my life. It's written so beautifully and you can just like hear it. And I just love it.
You've talked about that scene for years, about that being just something that you are captivated in. I remember when I was considering reading Chronicles of Narnia for the first time, one of the reasons you really wanted me to read it is that you wanted me to experience that scene.
Yeah.
And so...
Was I wrong?
No, you're not wrong. Like, it really, really is. It is beautiful. And so this might sound weird, but, you know, both Sherri and I, obviously, you know, Christians. And so we have like this biblical creation story. Mm-hmm. And maybe this is going to be like total heresy, but like, I do believe that the biblical creation story is a beautiful narrative. Like, I love reading it as this stunning narrative where there is nothing yet. There's like the creation of all things and how it's done. And you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But when I read the creation scene in the Chronicles of Narnia, I'm like, yo, this is better. You know what I mean? Like, maybe that sounds horrible.
No, that's
but
true.
It's true.
Like, I can just see it, and it's so beautiful.
It is beautiful. So, what a good question to end on.
Yeah.
So, again,
good job finding these questions.
Thank you. Well, I knew for National Book Lovers Day, we had to do something book-related. And it's also fun for me because I feel like the podcast is one of the reasons I love the podcast is that your personality comes out so well in this. And so I love finding topics where we get to highlight that. And to me, books are one of those.
Yeah.
So thanks for...
I'm a nerd.
A huge nerd, yeah. A literary nerd. A literary nerd. Friends, thank you guys so much for listening. Happy National Book Lovers Day.
Yes. What we would like for you to...
I have no clue what you're going to answer, and I'm terrified.
Maybe ask if you have any other book questions.
Oh.
To ask us.
Are you going to be in the comments answering questions?
I will read the comments.
What?
I will help out. Also,
dang.
What are your answers to some of these questions? Like, what do you think is the worst Jane Austen book?
Oh, that's what I want to know. That question, I love that question. Worst Jane Austen book.
I feel like I should reread Mansfield Park just to, like, appease people.
You know what you should do? Oh my gosh, I just had an idea.
Oh no.
You should take a month and read, like a month focus on books you hate. Mansfield Park, like Crazy Rich Asians, Lord of the Rings. A month trying to redeem books that you are biased against.
Gosh.
Oh my gosh, Sherri. Did we just stumble onto something awesome?
Maybe, but what if it's just terrible and I like gave up a whole month of my life to read these awful books?
My favorite. So funny. All right, friends.
Oh, no.
Thank you guys so much for listening again. We're so sorry that we missed last week, but episode 45 in the books.
Yeah.
Just a week late.
Yeah.
So, friends, we love you. And the way that you leave your comment, just so you know, I don't think we said this.
Oh, yeah.
If you're new here, head over to YouTube. Search LeggLife Podcast. Do two things. Number one, hit that subscribe button, would you? That'd be fun. And then find this episode there on our podcast channel and leave it in the comments below. Yep. Just like you would on a normal YouTube video. It's just an audio version of the podcast.
Yes, correct.
Friends, we love you so very much. And we will see you next week with episode number 46 of the LeggLife Podcast.